The movie opens up in a small town, Joliet, Illinois, where a group of kids are playing ball and laughing. One of them is Rudy Ruettiger, who stays stuck in the all-time center position in the game. But all of them, including him, insist he is too small and can't fit elsewhere. Finally, one of them says he has to go, and Rudy gets a chance to rush the passer for now and prove himself fit.
Okay, let's go. Ready, set, hot! Get him, Rudy, get him!
At home, Rudy gathers with the rest of his family, his father Daniel Ruettiger, his mother Betty Ruettiger, and his brothers Frank and Mark, who also play football with him earlier. At dinner, Rudy mentions his dreams of playing college football at the University of Notre Dame. But his whole family seems not to believe in him, and his brother cracks a joke at him.
And I'm gonna buy a mansion on Lakeshore Drive.
Despite the fact that his father is also a fan of Notre Dame, he doesn't believe his son will become one someday. After dinner, Rudy spends time with his friend Pete and showcases his passion for football and the world that revolves around it.
Unless our secondary comes up too close. But don't forget, men, we're going to get him on the run. We're going to go, 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 go. And they're not going to stop until we're over that goal line. And don't forget, men.
It seems Pete is the only supporter he has. Years later, in his senior year of high school, Rudy is braver than ever. He plays football for his high school team, and this is their last day. That afternoon in class, their teacher announces that for those interested in it for their college choice, there will be a bus that leaves on Saturday to Notre Dame University for a one-day guided tour. Hearing this, Rudy is eager and fast to write it down and make up a schedule. On Saturday, Rudy shows up early and lines up to get on the bus to Notre Dame. However, a teacher stops him and tells him he may not go on the bus as this tour is not for sightseeing. Though he achieved some success with his local high school team, he lacks the grades and money necessary to attend Notre Dame, as well as the talent and physical stature to play football for a major intercollegiate program.
You don't have the grades for Joliet Community, much less Notre Dame.
Rudy now stands there with doubts, unsure of what to do next. 4 years later, Rudy takes a regular job at a local steel mill, the same place where his father works as well. He shares a meal with Pete, his best friend. Today is Rudy's birthday, and Pete gets him a Notre Dame football team jacket. He is happy and mentions that he has now saved up enough money, $1,000 to go to Notre Dame.
Guess how much money I have saved up?
What? 20, 30, 80, 50.
$1,000.
Shortly, we see Rudy has a fiancée named Sherry, who is eager to move in together in a new house she chooses for them. Rudy seems unsure of the decision because he will definitely need the money for college, but she makes sure he has the same life choices as her.
Look, buddy, I've put in my time. I've been very patient, waiting for us to get this money together so we could get married and do this right.
Later that day, Rudy and Pete meet at a bar. They talk about how they could go to a reunion event where they could find their old high school coach. Frank, Rudy's rude brother, overhears their conversation and starts to belittle Rudy for why he hasn't moved on from such dreams.
What is your problem?
Or maybe he'll give you permission to wipe his ass.
Hey, why don't you leave him alone?
Why don't you mind your own business?
Rudy shuts up and stares at his table, but Pete intervenes and defends him. However, it only escalates into a fight that is calmed down by Rudy's father. That afternoon, Pete and Rudy go to work at the steel mill and find chaos as they get there. The machines are malfunctioning, and the two rush to tame down the danger.
Rudy, I need more water! I'm not getting anything!
But in the process of trying to cool down the temperature, Pete is killed in a huge explosion. The next day, his funeral takes place and Rudy is there weeping. But amidst it, he can control his tears and he excuses himself to leave. Sherry follows him to comfort him, but at the back of the church, he reveals to her that he cannot waste any more time here as he now understands nothing is guaranteed.
I'm going to South Bend.
Now's not the time.
If I don't go now, I'll never be any good for you.
Rudy decides to follow his dream of attending Notre Dame and playing for the Fighting Irish, and his fiancée couldn't change his mind. The next day, Rudy is at the bus station to get to the place of his dreams. His father comes to say goodbye, but he ends up discouraging Rudy from chasing a fog.
Chasing a stupid dream causes nothing but you and everyone around you heartache.
Despite it, Rudy travels to South Bend, Indiana to the campus. It is early when he arrives, and the gatekeeper says the admissions office hasn't opened yet and won't for 3 hours. Rudy decides to wait while he speaks with a priest he finds. At first, the priest thinks Rudy is there to become a priest, but when Rudy tells him he is there to fulfill his dream of joining Notre Dame, the man empathizes.
Nothing against being a priest, Father, but I don't think it's for me. I want to go to school at Notre Dame.
Shortly, the priest offers him a great opportunity to use his potential.
Holy Cross Junior College is nearby. I can get you 1 semester there.
Happy for the chance he got, Rudy went to Notre Dame Stadium that afternoon. There he comes across a man named Fortune. He seems like a groundskeeper, and Rudy tells him he is there to see the legendary field tunnel.
Hey, this place is really something else, huh? Hey, someday I'm gonna come out of that tunnel and I'm gonna run onto this field.
Fortune tells him maybe he should tell the coach Prosky and see what he thinks first. Rudy thinks that is the best idea and leaves for the office. His secretary can't let him in, but Rudy, being the eager guy he is, pushes himself in.
No, it's all right. I've got it. Shall I close the door? No. How can I help you, son?
I'm Rudy Ruettiger.
Coach Prosky asks him what he is there for, and Rudy explains how his friend died these past days, and he just woke up and realized he must follow his dream. He mentions that the priest helped him join Holy Cross for a semester, and if he manages to get good grades, he will officially be transferred there. The coach deals with him, and the next day Rudy officially sits in a class at Holy Cross. There, a student named D-Bob noticed him. He sees him in the class listening attentively and wonders what he is about.
You learning stenography or what? Everything he's mouthing's in the goddamn book.
I gotta make an A in this class.
In the hallways, D-Bob sees Rudy talking with a girl and wonders if he could befriend him. He approaches and gives him a deal to help him get good grades in exchange for Rudy introducing him to girls because he is socially awkward.
You don't have a goddamn clue, do you?
About what?
About how to get an A in that class.
Rudy agrees, and soon the two become friends. Later that afternoon, Rudy goes back to the football field and tries to talk with Coach Prosky, but the man is busy and uninterested in him.
Hey, Coach! Coach Prosky! Anything I can do to help the team, you just let me know.
Determined, Rudy resolves to do everything he can to get into the football powerhouse. Thus, he once again approaches Fortune, the groundskeeper, and volunteers to work for free.
I want to be your assistant.
I don't need an assistant. I've got a full crew.
Well, couldn't you use somebody else? I mean, I'll work for free.
Meanwhile, he continues to purposefully meet more girls for D-Bob's sake, and D-Bob continues to help him in his classes. They play together, study together, and eat together. At lunch, a beautiful girl approaches them while they are eating and poses an unexpected question to D-Bob.
This is kind of embarrassing, but you heard about the dance on Saturday night, right?
D-Bob freezes because of her beauty, and Rudy answers for him the whole time she asks questions. But sadly, she finally reveals that the dance she is asking him out for is not actually with her, but with her roommate Elsa, a girl with much less attractiveness. After class, Rudy goes to Fortune to do his job, assist him, and tell him that D-Bob, suspecting an underlying cause of Rudy's previous academic problems, had him tested and found out that he has dyslexia. But he assures him that he is learning to overcome his disability and becoming a better student. Before they proceed to work, while they are in the office, Rudy checks the windows of Fortune's office, making sure they are working. Fortune sees that, and later on he asks Rudy where he is staying. Rudy doesn't think much of it and says he will rent someplace as soon as he saves more money. Soon, they enter the locker room of Notre Dame, and Rudy begins his fascination. He recites the same commentary he did when he was a child, while Fortune watches him with a smile on his face.
And then we're gonna go, and we're not gonna stop until we get across that goal line. This is the team they say is good.
That night, however, Rudy sneaks in and out of Fortune's office at night through a window and sleeps on a cot, having no place to live of his own. The next day at Holy Cross School, D-Bob and Rudy meet. At the entrance, D-Bob sees his classmate Mary, whom he has a crush on. She voluntarily signs up students who wish to join any activities they like. D-Bob urges Rudy to go and talk to her, possibly to direct her attention to him.
It's in Marshall Fields. She'll know. Just tell her that. Right? Just please.
Rudy then walks up to her and starts to chat.
Hi, are you interested in joining a student activity?
Yeah.
By the end of their conversation, Rudy is actually interested in the school's football field inventory, where painting the players' helmets is the main activity. She asks if he is a student at Notre Dame, and this time Rudy lies his way in.
You are a student at Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
Mary is very friendly with him, but when he returns, he lies about Mary saying no to D-Bob asking her out.
Strike? Out. She has a boyfriend. He's on the football team or something.
You look like you were in.
At night, Rudy goes to the studio where he signed up to paint the helmets for the football players. But Mary first asks him to submit his student ID before proceeding.
I need your student ID to get your card section passed.
Anyway, he accepted the invite to meet afterwards, but later that night has too much to drink before Mary even gets there. Thus, he becomes drunk. Tearfully, that's when he mistakenly expresses his deep desire to join the Notre Dame college team next semester.
For the first time in my life, my grades have been really good.
You're not a Notre Dame student?
Mary refuses to let him join, and she leaves him as well. For the next couple of days, Rudy continues to sneak into Fortune's office and spend the night there. At first, Fortune is indifferent toward Rudy, but he gradually sees his sincerity and later provides Rudy with a key of his own to the office. The next day, Rudy and Fortune clean the field, but Rudy keeps drifting off and daydreaming. Fortune sees his passion, but keeps telling him to come and help instead.
Hey, we got work to do.
Down, set, hit, boom.
Rudy then learns that Fortune has never seen a Notre Dame football game, despite working at the stadium for years. Next, when Rudy talks with the priest who set him up for the semester, he assures the priest that he is doing great with his grades and trying his best. However, when Rudy's time comes and the semester finally ends, his grades do not qualify him for acceptance into Notre Dame.
Dear Mr. Ruettiger, your application for admission with advanced standing to the University of Notre Dame has been evaluated by...
At Christmas vacation, Rudy returns home to his family's appreciation of his report card, but is still mocked for his attempts at playing football.
Would it make a difference if I were playing in the game?
Jesus, we still have to listen to this crap? Well, that semester at junior college shouldn't make you any smarter.
Additionally, one of his brothers has started seeing Mary, and Rudy sadly loses his fiancée. Mary tried to explain herself, but it upsets Rudy, and he excuses himself to leave them and the house.
I have to go to work.
I'm sorry. I just want to tell you that I hope you make it. I do.
However, he still knows that doing well in school and becoming better will avenge his family's disrespect. For the next semester, Rudy works as hard as ever. He spends time in college with D-Bob, but even after that, he still gets rejection from Notre Dame. Rejection after rejection. But he knew that his abilities, or lack thereof, didn't matter as much as his choices. It was not his abilities that defined him. It was the choices he made. He could keep trying or walk away. Exhausted, Rudy one day complains in Fortune's office.
I've blown another year of eligibility. This entire year has been a waste.
Fortune doesn't want his time wasted and keeps emphasizing that Rudy either has to keep working hard or go study harder. For the next couple of semesters, Rudy continues his hard routine: studying, attending class, exercising, and praying, which are all part of his daily to-do list. However, by the end of the semester, Rudy continues to face rejection and becomes more frustrated and desperate than ever. One day he goes to the temple and finds the priest once again for consultation. The priest tells him that he appreciates Rudy's efforts to appeal to a higher court, which shows his desperation. In Rudy's final semester, after numerous rejections, he is finally admitted to Notre Dame during his final semester of transfer eligibility. When he opens the mail and reads that he is accepted, he immediately tears up, realizing he has finally done it. Rudy then goes to tell his family, with his father announcing the news to his steel mill workers over the loudspeaker.
Hey, you guys! My son's going to Notre Dame!
Back at Notre Dame, Rudy begins his training as a fully respected and qualified student of the college. However, he still has to earn his spot on the football team, and things just get tougher for him.
My job is to basically beat the shit out of you for the next 5 days. And whoever is still standing at the end, maybe we'll use for our scholarship.
During training, Rudy is somewhat weaker than the huge fellow players along with him, but the coaches notice that Rudy Ruettiger exhibits more drive than many of his scholarship teammates. However, Coach Prosky tries to walk him out of the team, but Rudy promises he will manage.
Do it again! Come on, get out of here. Come on, Coach, I can do it!
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see.
However, when the prospecting coach's time comes to decide who to keep on the team, two of them argue that Rudy has no athletic skill and isn't fit enough. After the shower, the coaches make a decision, and the assistant coach calls Rudy to speak with him. He asks if Rudy can put the same effort into the next 5 months, day in and day out. Later, Rudy goes to Fortune to persuade him to come and see his first game if Rudy is permitted to suit up. Fortune tells him he will if Rudy dresses up for the game. After walking on as a non-scholarship player for the football team, Rudy continues to convince Coach Prosky to believe in him and give him a spot on the actual squad that will play for the Irish team by working as hard as ever on the field. Rudy puts in a lot of effort every day on the field, even earning the disrespect of the regular team members for making them look bad. However, the coaches notice Rudy's effort and dedication. It is clear to him and the coaches that he might not be playing in the first game. Thus, one day, Rudy goes to Coach Prosky's office to speak with him about the matter.
One of the many things that I've learned this year is that no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to get above the prep team. I mean, I've kind of accepted the fact that God made certain people to be football players, and I'm not one of them.
Initially hesitant, Coach Prosky agrees to Rudy's request to suit up for one home game in his senior year so his family and friends can see him as a member of the team. Rudy accepts that he will never be a regular member of the Notre Dame team and is happy to get a chance to dress up. Not wasting more time, Rudy calls home to his father to ask him to come.
But it'll definitely be next season. I'm sure. I don't know. I guess they'll tell me a couple of days before the game.
He is desperate to show that he made it because all his life, his family doubted him. A few days later, D-Bob comes to Rudy's room to announce he is leaving for law school in Miami. But Rudy is not in a good mood as he has just read in the local newspaper that Coach Prosky is about to step down as coach following the 1974 season and be replaced by former NFL coach Dan Devine. Downstairs, Rudy says goodbye to D-Bob for his departure. D-Bob is leaving with that co-ed girl Elsa, now his fiancée.
We should get going.
Yeah. I'll see you next fall, right?
Thanks for everything.
Soon, Coach Devine keeps Rudy on the team, but refuses to list him on the active playing roster. When Rudy sees that he is not on the dress list for the team's next to last game, he becomes angry and quits the team.
Where are you going?
I quit.
Hey, Rudy, wait up. Hey.
The hell with Devine, the hell with Coach Yonto.
Wait up.
That day, Rudy goes to the field and stares in disappointment. Fortune sees Rudy at the stadium and asks why he is not at practice, then chastises Rudy for giving up.
So you didn't make the dress list. There are greater tragedies in the world.
During the conversation, Rudy learns for the first time that Fortune has seen his share of Notre Dame games because he was once on the team but has never seen one from the stands.
You were a player?
I rode the bench for 2 years.
And with that, Rudy decides to return to the team. Later in the afternoon, led by team captain and All-American Roland Steele, the other seniors rise to Rudy's defense and lay their jerseys on Devine's desk, each requesting that Rudy be allowed to dress in his place for the season's final game. In response, Devine lets Ruettiger suit up for the game against Georgia Tech. Steele invites Rudy Ruettiger to lead the team out of the tunnel onto the playing field.
You ready, champ?
I've been ready for this my whole life.
Then you take us out on the field.
Fortune is also there to see it as he promised, and indeed, Rudy leads the team through the tunnel. And everybody cheers as they come out. However, as the game nears its end with Notre Dame up 27-3, Devine sends all the seniors onto the field, but not Rudy. Soon, as a Rudy chant begins in the stadium, the offensive team, led by tailback Jamie O'Hare, overrules Devine's call for victory formation and scores another touchdown instead. providing defensive player Rudy Ruettiger with one more chance to get into a game and thus be entered onto the official roster of Notre Dame football players. Devine finally lets Rudy play on the final kickoff to the joy of his family. Rudy stays in for the final play of the game, delivering a decisive sack on the Georgia Tech quarterback. As the whistle blows, the stadium erupts in cheers, and in a moment of triumph, his teammates hoist him onto their shoulders, carrying him off the field to the roaring admiration of the crowd.